Modern world politics is often explained through the wrong metaphor: football. A game of clear rules, theatrical fouls, exaggerated pain, and constant appeals to the referee. But international relations do not function like football. They are closer to rugby, physical, unforgiving, and brutally honest. Rugby does not pretend that violence can be eliminated. It assumes violence as a fact and asks a more uncomfortable question: how can it be contained without destroying the game itself? This is precisely why rugby offers a far more accurate philosophical lens for understanding global power. The defining feature of rugby is not aggression, but regulated force. Players collide, bodies break, blood spills, but not arbitrarily. Violence is not outlawed. It is structured. There are lines, phases, penalties, and limits. Step outside them, and you are punished. What we witness on the field is not chaos, but disciplined conflict. This logic mirrors the political philosophy of Leviathan. Hobbes never believed that peace meant the absence of violence. He believed peace meant the monopolization of violence. The state does not erase force. It centralizes and manages it. Order emerges not by suppressing power, but by organizing it. Rugby operates on the same principle. Violence exists, but only under authority. The referee is not there to stop conflict. He is there to define when it becomes illegitimate. In this sense, the referee is the sovereign. International politics functions similarly. There is no world without power, no global arena free from coercion. Military force, sanctions, deterrence, and threats remain foundational. International law, institutions, and norms do not abolish these forces, they attempt to regulate them. The United Nations treaties and conventions act like the painted lines on a rugby pitch. They do not stop the collisions, but they try to prevent total collapse. Nowhere is this clearer than in the scrum. A scrum is not a test of individual strength. It is a test of coordination, balance, and collective discipline. The strongest player alone cannot win it. Power only works when synchronized. One mistimed push, and the entire formation collapses. This is the essence of balance of power politics. Power is never absolute. It is relational. The United States, China, and Russia resemble the front row of a global scrum-locked pushing, adjusting. Middle powers play the role of stabilizers or disruptors, determining whether the formation holds or fractures. What matters is not raw force, but alignment. Rugby teaches us a critical truth often ignored in political discourse. Power has no meaning in isolation. It only exists in opposition. Rugby is frequently romanticized as a sport of honor and fair play. Players shake hands after brutal matches. Referees are respected. Fans pride themselves on civility. But this narrative conceals the darker reality of the game. Rugby is filled with psychological warfare, borderline fouls, and constant attempts to exploit gray zones. The line between legality and illegitimacy is always tested. So too with the liberal. International order. Liberalism presents itself as a rules-based system grounded in cooperation, rights, and shared norms. Yet in practice, those with greater power interpret the rules more flexibly than those without it. Strong states bend norms. Weaker states absorb them. Fair play exists, but only where power is balanced in rugby. Discipline works because no team can dominate forever without consequences. In international politics, the absence of true enforcement mechanisms makes fairness far more fragile. Rules exist, but their application is uneven. The game continues regardless. Perhaps the most revealing moment in rugby is the referee's whistle. A single decision can redefine the match. It may be controversial, disputed, or perceived as unjust, but once called reality shifts. The scoreboard does not care about disagreement. This brings us to Carl Schmitt and his unsettling insight. Sovereign is he who decides on the exception. In moments of crisis, rules are suspended, and authority reveals itself. The referee's whistle is not neutral, it is an act of power that creates truth in international relations. Sovereignty becomes visible during emergencies, wars, sanctions, invasions, humanitarian interventions. These are moments when legal frameworks bend and power speaks directly. Decisions are contested, but they stand. The system moves on. This is why rugby is a more honest metaphor than football. Football thrives on simulation, spectacle, and performance. Rugby is about bodies, endurance, and consequence. Pain cannot be faked. Injuries are real. Every decision carries weight. World politics is the same. Speeches, declarations, and moral language dominate the surface, but underneath, real bodies pay real prices. Wars are not metaphors. Sanctions are not abstractions. Power leaves scars. Rugby does not promise justice. It promises order, temporary, fragile, and constantly contested. It teaches us that conflict is not an anomaly, but a condition. What matters is not whether power exists, but how it is constrained. And this may be the most disturbing lesson rugby offers. There is no outside of the game. One cannot opt out of power relations. Neutrality is a position, not an escape. To exist within the system is to be part of the scrum, whether pushing or being pushed. The world is not a fair match governed by perfect rules. It is a disciplined struggle where force is never eliminated, only organized. Rugby understands this. Political theory understands this. Only our comforting narratives pretend otherwise. The real question, then, is not whether power should exist, but who controls the whistle when the collision happens. Because in rugby, as in world politics, the game never stops. Only the cost changes.